So if you're a founder, a creator, an inventor, you know you've poured just countless hours into getting your products designed just right. But what if I told you that very design, the thing you're so proud of, might actually be a legal trap, one that leaves all your hard work completely exposed? Let's dive in.
I mean, really think about that for a second. You launch, you start to get some traction, and then bam, a carbon copy of your product hits the market. Your first thought is probably, hey, they can't do that. But what if you discover you can't do a single thing about it? And look, this isn't some far-off what-if scenario. It happens every single day.
And that right there, that's what we call the functionality trap. It's this subtle but honestly devastating blind spot for innovators who are moving fast. It just quietly strips your design of all the protection you thought you had, right when you need it the most. So let's break down exactly what this trap is, and more importantly, how you can sidestep it completely.
All right, so to really get our heads around this trap, we have to learn to see your product through the eyes of the law, which is a totally different perspective than you're used to. It all boils down to two key words: ornamental versus functional. You see, design patents, the ones that are supposed to protect how a product looks, they only care about the ornamental parts. Now, if a design choice is purely functional, meaning it's shaped that way because it absolutely has to be for the product to work, well then it's generally not protectable. The law basically sees that as a necessary shape that anyone should be free to use to make a competing product.
And this quote right here, it illustrates the logic perfectly. The whole idea is to prevent one single company from monopolizing the only possible shape for something to function, right? I mean, imagine if someone patented the basic shape of a screwdriver handle. It would just kill all competition. And that's exactly why purely functional shapes are left out there in the public domain for everyone.
And this is where the copycats have a field day. Competitors who are looking for a shortcut, they know this rule inside and out. They can look at your product, clone its shape, and if you challenge them, they'll just shrug and say, hey, we just followed the same physics you did. It's the most logical design. And you know what? If your design is purely functional, they're not wrong. They get to ride your design coattails completely for free.
Okay, so that's the problem. And I know, it sounds pretty scary, but the solution is actually incredibly powerful, and it's totally accessible. It's not about making your product look weird or complicated. It's all about making conscious, optional choices that build your defense. Let's see exactly how that works.
Okay, this is probably the most crucial point to get right. When the law says ornamental, please don't think of fancy patterns or little decorations. That's a huge mistake a lot of people make. In patent law, ornamental simply means the visual aspect was a choice. It wasn't forced by engineering. It doesn't have to be artistic at all. It just has to be optional. That's the key.
And this right here is the secret weapon to escaping the trap: optional details. We're talking about things that can be super tiny, really subtle. A specific curve that isn't required for strength, a unique proportion between two parts, a signature silhouette. They carry enormous legal weight because they are proof that you, the designer, made a creative choice. They break that link between pure function and how it looks.
So here's a simple process you can use like right now. First, just ask yourself, does this part have to look exactly this way to work? If the answer is no, you've got an opportunity. Second, consciously add those subtle optional choices, a distinctive edge, a specific taper, something. And third, this is important, document why you made those choices. That story becomes powerful evidence that your design is in fact ornamental and therefore protectable.
And please don't wait to add design touches at the end. By then, it's way too late and it's way too expensive to change tooling. Instead, you got to weave this ornamental thinking into every single stage. You know, your early sketches often have the most personality. Lock in those ornamental details before manufacturing, and you'll have a defensible design from day one without even slowing down.
So why does all this matter? What's the big payoff? Well, because when you do this right, you're not just making a product. You are building a defensible moat around your business, a visual identity that your competitors cannot legally steal. And this isn't just a legal shield, it's a massive business advantage. Investors absolutely love defensibility. When they see you've protected your product's unique look, they see lower risk and way more leverage. They know a cheap copycat can't just swoop in and confuse the market. It's a signal that you're building a real, durable brand. And believe me, that moves deals forward.
Oh, and get this.
Copycats aren't nearly as afraid of utility patents, the ones that protect how something works. Those can be really complex and expensive to fight in court, but they fear strong design patents. And why is that? Because enforcement is brutally simple. It's a visual test. If their product looks confusingly similar to your protected design, you win. It's fast, it's direct, and it's a powerful, powerful deterrent.
So let's sum it all up. A protected ornamental design. It stops copycats cold. It boosts investor confidence. It solidifies your brand. It gives you a clear path to fast legal enforcement if you ever need it. But I think most importantly, it transforms your product's look from just some subjective feature into a tangible, legally enforceable asset that's going to grow in value right alongside your company.
And that really brings us to the final question you should be asking yourself. After everything we've covered, take a hard look at what you're building. Did its shape come from pure necessity, or did it come from choice? Because the answer to that question determines whether your design is just another feature or a powerful, defensible asset that's going to protect you for years to come.